Hey, I'm at the Lakeview Cemetery in Seattle, and this is a beautiful cemetery. It's got beautiful views. You can see some of the city, you can see water views, mountains, very pretty. And but this is best known for being the final resting place for Bruce Lee and his son, Brandon Lee. Everybody knows who Bruce Lee is, right? He's an icon. But his son was pretty well known for his short career. Somebody left him some Folgers. It's strange. Brandon Lee was in a movie that I loved when I was a teenager. I guess I was a teenager, young adult. And it was called The Crow, the original Crow. And for some reason, I remember very specifically going to see that movie, and it kind of moved me, I guess, at the time, like a 18-year-old. I watched the movie again a year ago and did not have the same effect on me, but at the time, I loved that movie, and he was the star. He was the Crow. Somebody came and left him a couple of little robots. So when you come to visit Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee's graves, they're just two smallish, unassuming tombstones. They have it roped off so you don't park your car right next to it or on the grass. There's a little path that leads over. So no, there's nowhere to park here. Well, there's no official place to park to come and see them, but I only did this because these people had already parked here, but I pulled over to the side. There was a worker right here, and no, he didn't seem to care, but just be careful not to pull off too far off the road, because there's graves very close to the pavement. So there are no maps here to find the graves. What I would suggest is just go on Google Maps, and they actually have it marked on the Google Maps exactly where in the cemetery it is. It's quite a large cemetery, so it'd be easy to get turned around and miss it. But it is a beautiful cemetery. It's just nice to walk around and drive around. So like I said, this is a beautiful cemetery. If you have a taller vehicle though, you definitely need to be careful if you come back here, but you may not want to drive all the way back in. A lot of low-hanging trees. I scraped at least a couple of them on the way back. There's some really tight turns too. I had to make a few 3-point or more point turns. Also, there's boondocking. I mean, it looks like people are boondocking along that street that runs along the park, not the cemetery, but the park, which is the same street, just a little further up. Yeah, it looks like there were a couple of campers, some vans. So where am I headed now? More famous dead people. This one, though, had a big impact on my life, I'd say. Yeah. So can you guess who it is? neighborhood is amazing and ritzy and green. And the drive here was like crazy, windy, beautiful. You can see why a very wealthy celebrity would want to live here.
I'm so happy, 'cause today from my friends in my head. I'm so ugly, that's okay, 'cause so are you.
So this is the unofficial Kurt Cobain Memorial Park. It sits next to his home where he passed away. What I've read is that Kurt would often come and sit on this bench and reflect. And it serves now as a memorial, a pilgrimage spot for his fans to come and see him.
'Cause they don't have any feelings. Something in the way. Only wants a cracker. Think I should get off her first. Think she wants some water to put out the bloat. She has me like a Pisces when I'm weak.
So people have left everything from silk flowers, incense, cigarette butts, makeup, oh no, marijuana, their business card from Panera, money, an apple cord, pretty plants. Interesting selection. That's Kurt's home up there. He lived here with Courtney before he died. I remember seeing it on TV, completely dumbfounded that he had killed himself, and they kept showing the house over and over again. So the house is no longer owned by anyone in the family, and so understandably the new owners are not too keen on people coming up to the property. Where I'm standing right now, it's in the public park. It's a beautiful home. It's mostly surrounded by trees and big hedges. Park has some nice views. That is the skyline of Bellevue. I thought Bellevue was just a suburb, but Bellevue is like a city unto its own. So I am a junior in high school, senior in high school, something like that, full of teenage angst, kind of angry, feeling very misunderstood, and Nirvana totally tapped into that anger for me, and like in the best possible way, or at least I felt so at the time, and helped me to like release some of those emotions that I had, and yeah. When I hear any of it now, it's one of those things that brings me back and makes me feel like that person again, that totally misunderstood teenager. Yeah, it stuck with me though. The music, not the feelings of anger. I'm no longer angry. Not very often. Except when I go to the cities, I get a little road rage, but yeah, the music stuck with me, and when I hear it today, I feel like I'm 17. And it's awesome. I love feeling that for a minute. I'm in Renton, Washington, which is a town south of Seattle, and I'm at the Greenwood Cemetery, I believe it's called. And there's one very famous person, well, there's a memorial to a very famous person here, and I'm going to go check it out. Lots of lipstick marks all over the memorial. Especially on his face. Jimi Hendrix loved his scarves. Just move this up here where it should be. I always find it a little odd what people leave at memorials. This guy left a guitar pick with his face on it. Always cigarette butts and apples. And quarters. And pot vials. Just like Kurt Cobain's. I don't really get that. That's nice. Oh, there's all the guitar picks. So Jimi, he was not a man born into money, and so his family didn't have much money, and when he passed away, they buried him here in Renton, Washington, and with his mother in a very unassuming grave. But people flocked here because of who he was and how much they loved him, and his father always wanted to build him a memorial, and that's what he did in 1998, I believe, when he gained the rights to Jimi's music and was able to give him a memorial like this one right here that was more fitting of somebody so legendary. The story of life is quicker than a wink of an eye. The story of love is hello and goodbye until we meet again. So I hope my Seattle death tour wasn't too morbid or anything. Just some really cool, iconic people from here, buried here. Yeah, but anyway, I thank you all for coming along, and I'll see you down the road.